Welcome, Live to Thrivers. Welcome to another week's podcast of Live to Thrive podcast. I am your host, Lizzie Katsia, and today I am with Catherine B Mitchell. I'm so excited to have you here, and I need to stop talking so we can get to know you a little bit better. So, Catherine, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, please?
Yes. So just a little bit about me. So I am a motivational speaker. I'm an author. I'm an advocate for domestic violence women. And I'm also known as the number one fatherless daughter expert in the world. And I am from Dallas, Texas. That's just a little bit about me.
I love that. So you have so much going for you. I know that um I talk a lot about people's stories and I just really want to dig into yours. So before we carry on, I would love to know, where were you born and raised?
Oh, yes. So I was born and raised here in Dallas, Texas, my whole life. So I was born and raised here. My family is based here. So this is where I grew up at.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
And so you said you the leading expert in empowering fatherless daughters. Can you tell me a little bit about that and what you do and what does that mean?
So when I was a little girl, um, it was on my birthday, and I was with my dad, and we were walking through the mall, and I remember just holding his hand, and I was just so happy and so excited, and I just felt like this was the luckiest day of my life. It's my birthday. I was spending time with my dad, and we're shopping, and at that moment, I didn't know that that would be the last time that I would see my dad, and so um, that just left the little girl just. If you can just envision the little girl just being there, just left alone, and feeling sad and lonely and unwanted. And so that little girl turned into a teenager after a while. She grew up, and throughout my lifetime, I struggled with, um, I had anger issues. I was bitter. Um, I dealt with a lot of effects from my father not being in my life. And so after I got into the adulthood, that kind of affect my relationships too as well. So I end up in a 12-year abusive relationship that almost took my life. And that is where I wrote my book, A Transformed Survivor. So that came from that. And so I end up trying to figure out why am I keep repeating these same cycles, why I'm keeping attracting the same type of men. And I just couldn't figure it out. And so I just did some research and digging as I was going through the healing process because I was healing, and I come across to realize that I came across this page and it started describing all the things that I was going through as that little girl, everything from detail to detail. And I was like, wow, that is me. And I realized that I was battling with daddy issues. And so that's where I come in at as the expert because I've experienced it and I've also did my study on it. And so I'm here to help coach them to break through, move forward, and thrive as fatherless daughters, even as adult, because for 37 years, I was repeating the same cycles and didn't realize that in relationships I was accepting these different type of behaviors because I didn't know my value. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know my identity. I didn't know anything until I realized that I am suffering from daddy issues. And I think that it's important to bring awareness to it because a lot of women they don't know that they're living that lifestyle because it is an unknown syndrome. The name of it is fatherless daughter syndrome, but it also known as daddy issues as well. So women live that fatherless daughter syndrome life and they don't even know that they're living their life. And so that's where I come in at to help get them through that and help them to understand it, why they keep repeating these things, toxic relationships, why they keep accepting these type of behaviors, why you're looking for love in all the wrong places. And so that's where I come in at.
I love that. And um, do you have insight into, is it just fatherless daughters that you focus on, or do you also look into fatherless sons, or is it just focused on women?
I'm glad you asked because I'm definitely doing research on that as well as other syndromes too. Because a lot I get asked that question a lot of times, and right now it's for me because I've experienced that and because of my studies. But I know a lot of people always come to me and ask me those questions about these different syndromes, and I've gone into studying those as well. So therefore, I will be the expert on those two as well, and I would love to help people as well to be able to move forward and thrive and live the life that they was purposely designed to live, because no one deserved to live a life of anger and unforgiveness and bitterness and keep repeating these same cycles. We all were born for a purpose, and I
Yeah,
believe that um, that you should live out that purpose in happiness and peace, and not have to struggle and try to figure your life out or figure out who you are, where you come from. Because when you don't have a father, you don't know your identity. When you don't know your mother, you don't know your identity, and that leaves you lost. It leaves you stuck, and it leaves you not knowing who you are as a person. And so you don't know what your purpose is in life. And so you struggle with that. And that's why you look for love in all the wrong places. That's why you attract the same type of people. And that's why we accept these toxic behaviors, because we think that it's okay. We think that it's love. And that's not real love. That's not love at all.
100%. And I feel like, you know, in your formative years, having your parents around you is very important because, like you said, when you grow up, you get these traits and the syndrome where you don't know your value, and then you surround yourself with people that don't know your value and treat you badly. And
Mhm.
I just want to touch on something that you talked about, that you were in an abusive relationship. I mean, I know that's a very, very heavy subject, but if you don't mind, I would love to know a little bit more and how you found yourself getting out of a situation like that.
Of course, I don't mind talking about it, um, just because I know that I'm helping somebody else. In that 12-year abusive relationship, I didn't know who I was, and I lost my identity, because I put the focus more on them and the kids, and I lost who I was as a person. Um, and I found myself getting out because prayer does work. I prayed, um, and I talked to God the whole time. And so, without God, without the courage that He has given me, the confidence, and without Him reminding me of who I was as that little girl, that 6-year-old little girl who was confident, who was bold, who was brave, and who was purposeful. And if he had not reminded me who that little girl was back then, I don't think that I probably would have had the courage to see myself the way that he saw me. And so when he told me that he was giving me the confidence to take my power back, because I had given him my power and I didn't have no power, I didn't have no control, I had to take it back.
Yeah.
Um, and I went through a process and things of I went through a lot of things that I heard the Holy Spirit. I don't know if anybody believe in God, but I heard the Holy Spirit was telling me different steps to do. And I went through those steps in every process that he was showing me that I was gaining my confidence back. And then after I went through those process, I went through counseling and therapy because I needed it. So
Yeah.
counseling and therapy is definitely much needed, because you can't carry that load. And even though if you think that you're okay, you're not okay, because trauma is trauma. And no matter who you are or how old you are, it will still affect you in some type of way, some form or fashion. Whether if you try to mask it with drugs or alcohol or partying or whatever it is that you do to mask it, you will never get to see your full potential self if you continue to mask it. And I just want to say that that was a journey for me after leaving that abusive relationship. It took some time to heal, to find out who I was, my identity, to get my power back, to realize that uh, to realize that I had to learn myself all over again because we lose ourselves in those relationships. And I had to learn myself all over again. And so I'm just thankful and grateful to God that He allowed me to walk about that relationship alive because there was times that, excuse me,
I'm sorry.
there was times that I didn't know if I was going to make it out because there was times to where I had a gun pulled to my head. There was time that I was choked till I passed out. And I'm just thankful that I can help somebody else to come out of their situation because nobody deserves to be treated like that, no matter who you are, no matter how you look, no matter what color your skin tone is, no, any of that. Nobody deserves to be treated like that at all. And I'm just thankful that I'm alive and I get to share my story to the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
That's what I wrote in my book when I wrote my book here, Transform Survivor. This book is about what I went through in that 12-year abusive relationship. So, and you can purchase it on my website and on Amazon as well.
Yeah.
And I got steps in there that will show you how I typically came out. So it also talks about the red flag signs because we ignore the red flag signs. And I
Yeah.
did at the beginning, I ignored those red flag signs.
Yeah, that's very, very scary. And I'm so happy you felt comfortable sharing that with me and sharing that with my audience. I think that like being open and honest about these situations is something that we need to be more open and honest. I think people, when you behind your closed doors, whatever happens to you behind closed doors, we kind of keep that to ourselves. And you coming out and telling your story can give that one person just a little bit of encouragement to get out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a lot, and I'm happy you're still here and you get to share your story with everyone, because obviously you're an amazing woman and like you've written your own book. And so with that being said, like, how was your process writing your own book? Was that was it healing for you? Was it emotional, like reliving those events? Like, how was it for you to write your book?
Um, it was hard. I cried
Mm,
a lot of times writing because you do have to relive those moments. And of course, you don't want to relive those moments because we do tend to want to mask it and push it away. But that's the best healing that you can give yourself is to write that story. That's the best thing, the best gift that you can give yourself is to write that story so that you can help somebody else. So no one else can go through the same thing that you've gone through. And it was an emotional roller coaster. I was good at times because I knew that I was helping somebody. And then there was times to where I was emotional. I had to stop and write. There was days that I did stop and write and say, I can't do this. And if it wasn't for my coach, Angela Brand, I love her to pieces. If it wasn't for her, when she told me that your story is going to touch so many women lives, you're going to change so many women lives because of your story. Because there's so many women who is not as brave, who is not as bold to come out and to share what you have gone through. There's women that is in their 60s that have came up to me after a conference and say, I really enjoyed your story. And because of you, you've given me confidence and courage. I have never told my story. And so for me, writing, that was the best gift that I can give myself.
that's amazing. And like, I feel like with writing, it's like a sense of therapy, like
It is.
getting it all out on paper and
Mhm.
stuff. Like that for me would think like be like therapy to just blurt it out, get it out, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
And you said you had a life coach, do you? And you've gone through therapy. So can you tell me a little bit about how you dealt with your mental health during this time, or just how you deal with your mental health now that you're out of the situation, you're living your best life, you've written a book, you're a coach, you inspiring woman. How do you deal with your mental health? Because you know it's a big thing these days. So I would love to know how you deal with that.
Good. I'll be glad to share it. Um, the main thing that I do for my mental health, I do write, of course. I wrote other books too as well. I meditate. So I have a routine that the first thing that I do when I wake up in the morning is that I meditate. Meditation, it calms your mind, it calms your body, it relaxes you, it gives you peace. So I meditate, I pray, and I read God's word on a daily basis. Just reminding myself of who He say that I am. It gives me peace. Um, and then just talking with my life coach, because I do talk to her quite a bit, and she kind of helps me. She's kind of like my therapist. When I don't have my therapist, and my friends as well. So you do. Let me say that you do have to have a good support system.
Mm,
Uh, that's the main thing too about when you're going through mental health after abuse or after some type of trauma. You have to have a good support system, and I have a really good support system. I have my kids; they're the best, they're the bomb because they didn't hold that against me, and they support me. And so I,
mhm.
that's my family support me, and that is the key of mental health. Meditation, a good support system, and yoga. Also, yoga helps as well with
Yeah.
mental. hmm And just go to therapy. Like, is it going to be easy? It's not going to be easy. Some days are easy. Some days are not going to be easy. But for me, it has been 10 years for me. So I have been free for 10 years now, and I'm in a really good place to where it does not affect me. So now we have a relationship. My daughter, father, and I, we have a really good relationship. It's not the best, but I can talk to him and be in the same presence with him without being angry, mad, or bitter, or just being this ugly, hatred woman or bitter woman because he abused me. No, I can be in a room with him comfortably, um, and just have a conversation with him. And that's
Oh,
true healing. You do have to have true healing too in order to
mm,
come to terms to be in the same room, in the same space with that person. That's true healing. If you still don't want to be in contact with that person or you can't be in the same room with that person, you have not truly healed. And true healing comes from the heart, not from
yeah.
the
Yeah. I feel like that would be a little bit nerve-wracking for me. Like, yeah, I feel like true healing is the answer. But if you had advice for women who are coming out of situations like this, like what advice would you give them if they just feel like they can never ever be in the same room with their abuser?
Um, and that's okay. If they feel like that they can't be in the same room, it's okay. But you definitely want to give yourself the greatest gift, which is true forgiveness. You want to give yourself that gift because that's your freedom. And you do have to forgive them too. So that's my advice is true forgiveness for yourself and to that person who have done you harm. You don't have to be like me. It's okay. But as long as you know that from your heart that I have been set free because I have truly forgiven them and myself.
And so, apart from your book, do you have any tools where my audience could use for not even bad relationships, but just tools in life in general, going through like maybe anxiety, fear, overcoming roadblocks? Do you have any advice on those aspects?
I do. I have a ebook that will be coming out. Fight Your Fears ebook that deals with anxiety. It deals with fear. It deals with a whole lot of aspect when it comes to um, fears that we deal with on a daily basis. And then I also I have a lot of different projects that I'm working on. So right now, the thing that I have is for women who have gone through abuse and for the fatherless daughter.
But I want to know like something that you are working on now, which is a lot. What fires you up for that? Like what makes you like get out of bed in the morning and be like, this is the day that I'm going to, kill this project that I'm working on just to get the people excited here.
What gets me is that knowing that I'm making a difference, knowing that I'm changing somebody's life, and knowing that they're getting the best information that they can get. That I have the best tools. Um, I use those tools, and it's not anything that I have not experienced and gone through myself that I can't help my audience or I can help somebody else to overcome those challenges. And so that's what I mean. Just excitement of helping somebody, changing their life. That
Yeah.
makes me feel good. Just knowing that if I change one person's life, or if I save one person's life, that makes me feel good because that means I did what I was supposed to do.
Yep. Yep. And have you ever thought to start a podcast yourself?
I'm glad you asked. Yes, yes, I have, and that's in the process as well. When I say I have a lot of projects lined up, I have been really busy working on these different projects. And yes, podcast is in the making right now.
I love that. So we'll stay tuned
Yes,
for
yes,
for your podcast. I love it. And I wanted to go back to something that you said right at the beginning of the episode about being that little girl. I feel like going as an adult, do you feel like going back to your childhood and working through those traumas obviously help you, you know, work through it and be a better person and become, you know, understand yourself better. I've noticed with myself, I feel like, or just in society in general, is that we lose ourselves as adults. We lose ourselves as adults. We feel like we have to conform and we're not that confident, ambitious young person anymore because we've just been broken down over and over again by society.
mhm,
And so, with your coaching tools, do you teach people how to work from the beginning, how to work through those like blocks and work through those childhood traumas to become a better version of themselves?
I do. I have a coaching course. It's called From Wounded to Wisdom, and we focus on healing that inner little girl. We work on healing, so there's different aspects of the course. So we work on your mental healing, we work on your emotional healing, we work on your spiritual healing, and then also we do work on physical healing because a lot of times when we are hurt, we tend to eat. We either overeat, and so therefore our health condition is in trouble, or either we don't eat, so our health condition is still in trouble. So, from wounded to wisdom, I teach you to heal, and then we're going to, at the end of the class, you will have that wisdom that you need so that you can move to the next level. And then I also have a course after that to help you get to the next level, which is my BMW method that builds your confidence. And that is one that I love the most. And I love that one because a lot of people love that because when you mention the BMW method, they want to know, where did I get that from? How did you come up with that? And I enjoy that the most because it gives people confidence. And because when you think about a BMW, you think about it's nice, it's luxury, it's an expensive car, and that's a car that most people dream about driving when they're younger. They want an expensive car, a luxury car, and nobody thinks about driving a Ford. So, you know, nobody wants to drive a Ford, even though they're nice cars, but they're not luxury. They're not so expensive. And um that's my take on when I talk about the BMW methods because when you see yourself as a BMW, that gives you confidence. When you drive in that car, that BMW, you got the nice luxury seats, it smells good and it rides good, it have all the tools that you need, and you just riding down the highway or the street or wherever you may be going, you know that you look good and you're gonna have confidence regardless if you have $2 in your pocket, you're gonna have confidence. Then if you're driving that Ford and you got $2 in your pocket, you're not gonna feel much of yourself at all. So that is what the BMW method is about. It builds your confidence. It's about building a solid foundation. That's what the B stands for. And the M is to help you maintain healthy habits. And the W is to win to success. So we're going to win regardless at the end of the day. You're going to be successful in every area of aspect that you tend to work on in your life. So I got a lot of stuff that's
I
lined
know.
up to help you thrive and be
I know.
resilient.
I'm excited, and I would love to have you back on here, like to hear what you've done, where you're at, um, and hear more of your projects that you're working on. So, um, Catherine, with that being said, do you have any last minute thoughts or advice that you would like to give my audience, in terms of coaching and giving your details on how people can reach you?
Of course. My last minute thought is that no matter what you have been through in life, no matter what you've gone through, no matter where you came from, no matter your background, you can still you can still be resilient. You can still overcome. It's never too late. You're never too old. All you have to do is just keep trying. All you have to do is keep focused. Yes, life is going to come at you from every side and every angle, but the trick is that as long as you stay focused on the goal and the prize, you can make it out. You will get through it. And know that you have people to support you and know that you're not alone. But sometimes we tend to think that we're alone and we're never alone. And you can do it. If I can do it, and when I tell you that was not easy, but I did it. And I'm not telling you that I'm not telling you nothing that I have not gone through. I'm telling you that you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. All of us can do it. We just have to be willing and fight for what we want and what we believe that we deserve in life and to live out that purpose. You're great. We all have a sense of humor. We all smart and intelligent. And so you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok at Catherine B. Mitchell. You can go to my website at www.catherinebmitchell.com. If you want to book a session with me, it is free. It's a 20-minute free session, and we can just talk about it and see where we can go from there. I'm here to help you to thrive and move forward, be resilient and radiant, living the life that you deserve to live.
I love that. And I might even take you up on that 20-minute session.
Great.
I would love that. But thank you so much for being on Live to Thrive podcast. I'll have all the links to Catherine's social media platforms and websites in my show notes. So that's it for today. Thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
on, Catherine.
Thank you, Lizzie, for having me. Like, this was great. I really enjoyed this. I was excited all day today. I could not wait for
I,
them
I
to
was
be with you.
I was really excited to have you on.